Brendan, can we start by getting an update on Adam Ida's future? I believe he's away down to have a medical at Swansea. Is that correct?
There's interest in Adam, but there's no one can leave here unless we get players in to replace. It's as simple as that. There's been negotiations and chat around it, but I have to have players in here before I can consider letting anyone go.
Is that a big concern, just given the fact that you've been wanting to strengthen your front line for quite a while now, and there's now talk of potentially Adam, and I think there was a link to Yang in Birmingham today as well?
Yeah, I think for the likes of Yang, it's been ongoing for Yang for a little while, and I understand it. It's when you're a player that's probably been mostly used maybe as a squad player over a couple of years, there comes a point in time and then you maybe want to move on and play. But I've been unable to do that because we've needed Yang here, and but I also know that if he does stay, he has a contribution to make because we need 5-6 wingers because of the number of games we play, the intensity that we want to play. But there has been interest in him. So, but yet again, I repeat, I can't really do anything unless we have players in.
Is there now uncertainty when it comes to Adam? Obviously a big game on Sunday. Do you know whether you'll have him available or not definitively either way?
Well, Adam had been out for a number of days before the last game and came in. So, no, we'll just, listen, I'm quite relaxed on it. I just need to see where we're at over the course of the next couple of days. And then we'll assess it from there.
In terms of strengthening, getting potential replacements in to maybe allow people to move out, do you feel you're any closer to that? I know Mikelanga Balikwisha obviously was confirmed last night.
Yeah, well, it's great. We've getting him in the building as a player that we'd seen for a period of time over the last year, and I like his talent, and I think he's got that skill set to play for Celtic. You know, he's an exciting player and who works very, very hard. So I'm delighted to get him in. We have Marcelo in the building as well, so hopefully that'll be all agreed and signed off, you know, within a matter of hours. So he gives us that cover that we need for Kieran in his position, and I'm very hopeful that we can close the window out over the next few days with getting the signings that's going to give us that real depth in the squad that we need.
Balikwisha, do you feel he's capable of making an impact on Sunday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been playing. He's obviously fit and strong, and he's been playing games. So he's ready made to play if needed.
Europa League draw today as well. What did you make of the opponents that you've got?
Yeah, well, listen, excited by it. When we come in from training, we've seen the games and Roma and the different teams that will play. It's another very prestigious competition. Of course, we're all bitterly disappointed that we're not in the Champions League. But my point is, and I said to the players this morning, that we've had a couple of days to grieve over that, whatever has happened, but it's done. And our message now is that we as a team and as a club, we have to be all together. And we need to find the solutions as to, over the course of the summer, why we weren't able to strengthen before the games when clearly we wanted to. So that's what we need, that in-depth look at that, because we can't be as a football club in this cycle where we're growing for a couple of years, we get to Bayern Munich, we've shown great signs, and then we stand still. That we can't do that. So we have to understand the why in that. But then our next point is, it's done. We're not in the Champions League. We're playing in the Europa League. We get some brilliant games. We get domestic titles to defend. And altogether we can have a really, really good season.
Brendan, on that, Celtic trying to do the business so late in the window, why do you think that culture is so hard to change?
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, there's so many reasons as to why transfers don't get done and don't get done in time. I just know that as a football manager and coach, if you bring in a player on the 1st of July, as well as you can, you've maybe scouted him and looked at him and done a lot of the work, you bring him in 1st of July, he's a time to adapt, not just to football life, but his family, moving out of hotels, getting into apartments, houses, whatever else, and then by the time you get to your games, like your competitive games, the games that matter, they're settled in and ready, you know. You know, you've seen the example of a young guy at Bruges there during the week. You know, £6 million winger. He's signed early. He comes in and does his work and makes a difference. So for us as a football club, it's not about investment either, because this club will invest. The club's super well run. The investment is there. We need to look at the timing of the investment, and does that go back to recruitment? Does it go back to identification? All these different facets. But what I do know is we have to be better in it, because it's not, you know, this is a period of time. So it's not about investment. The club will invest. We'll see over the next few days. I'm pretty sure we'll invest. But we want to get the timing of investment important, just to give us every single chance to be the best version of Celtic that we can be.
And how hopeful are you that this time next year that is something that can be changed?
Well, we have to discuss that. We have to look at that, and I'd be very hopeful. We've got a major owner in Dermot who's a super intelligent guy. We've got a board of directors who bleed for the club. They want the club to do well. So everyone here's connected. It's not, you know, I see and I hear all the stories of disconnection, and it can't be further from the truth. Every single guy, from me, the board, Dermot, we love Celtic, but we want Celtic to be the very, very best. There's a business model that you see it works so well. I want to try and ensure the football model works equally as well. So it's fluent and agile, and we keep ahead of the game. So when we lose players, we're not in this cycle of waiting, standing still, and then missing out on competitions that we want to be in. So that's the idea, hopefully over the coming months.
Brendan, at this time last year, after your win at St Mirren and Paisley, you said, you know, very much the same thing. A club like Celtic cannot be going into the final week of the transfer window looking to do business. Was there a discussion about this last year? Did you sit down and talk to the club about this last year, and does that have to be revisited because lessons haven't been learned?
Yeah, no. Listen, probably if you looked at what Ange said or what Neil Lennon said, or what someone else, it would be around about the same. So that's what I'm saying. It's a trend. So we need to understand that. Well, certainly we would need to understand that from a football context, because you want to be as well equipped as you possibly can. And like I said, it's not about investment. The club will invest, but it's all about timely investment, and I think that it's most definitely what we need to look at.
Brendan, does what happened on Tuesday night have an impact on how much you can invest between now and the end of the month?
I don't think it will. I don't think it will, because I don't think we were qualifying for the Champions League and buying 4 players for £10 million. That was never going to happen, you know. And the guys coming in, I think we'll look to make good signings. So I don't think it has would have any impact.
Is there a sense of frustration? You know, you're getting players in now after the Champions League playoff games. Is there a sense of frustration there?
Listen, I don't want to feed anyone any negativity around the club, because there's been enough of that. The job now is for us all to connect, the team, the supporters, and everyone push forward in the same direction, knowing that, that this here behind the scenes we have to look at. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But in the meantime, we can't be frustrated and look backwards. You know, we have to understand that we will definitely have to improve that if we're going to continue moving forward. But in the meantime, I have to drive the team and look to get the team forward in the best possible mindset, and look forward to the challenges ahead.
In terms of your stance on Adam not going until you get somebody else in, is that maybe a sign that the lessons have been learned from what happened in January when obviously Kyogo left and wasn't replaced?
I just think it's logical and it's common sense. You know, as I said, we're really light in that area of the field, and I'm pretty sure there'd be a number of clubs that would want some of our players, but there's absolutely no way we can move anyone out unless we have absolute guarantees that there's going to be people to come in to replace.
Brendan, when you sold Nicholas Kuhn, was there an expectation that he would be replaced in time for the Champions League qualifiers?
I think we all thought that would have been the case, yeah.
Do you sympathise with the supporters' frustrations? You know, like yourself, they just want the best for the club and they want to see the club move forward. And it seems like there's an alignment between what you're saying, what the supporters want, what the captain's saying about getting players in, getting them in early and getting them in at crucial times. And then there's this sort of roadblock that supporters can't really understand. They just see things not happening and they see the fallout from that and they get frustrated themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Like the other night, I walked around to see the supporters before the game, and I don't normally do that because I'm normally inside. But I seen a 77-year-old guy stood on the side of the stands the other day, looking in, ready to watch the game, and I'm looking at him and thinking, Christ, this poor guy has travelled. He's probably got loads of connections to get to the game, and it's our duty to make sure the likes of he and all our supporters are served with the best possible team we can. So I know that better than anyone. So and I have to, that's my job to try and make sure that we can in the future be better equipped to give the best possible team on the pitch. And like I say, it's Dermot wants that, the board will want that, but we have to find a way to make it happen. Otherwise, it's absolutely okay saying what it is you want to do, but you got to action it. You got to make it happen.
You got Nygren in early. You started on Tuesday night. It can be done. Just has to be done more. It's not it's not impossible.
No, it's clearly possible. Very possible. You can get players in. The recruitment and the signing of players never stops. Your January window, you're already planning for the summer because you have an idea who might go, who might move on, and then your work begins then. You don't just get to the end of the season, have a holiday, and then come back and start your preparation. It all has to be fluid, and the teams that are best organised and the clubs that are best organised will do that. The work will be done. You know where you want value, but you also know where you have to get your best team. So it's all fluid. It's absolutely possible. It can be done, and like I say, we want to make sure in the future it is. Otherwise, you'll continue to stop-start, and that's been the frustration over the game the other night. So it's a collective responsibility. We're all responsible in our own ways. We have to be better at it, and we have to then move on and make this season a really good season.
Is Sunday the sort of chance for the players who are here? I think Ham kind of took responsibility in the week and said there's also sort of the players who are here are responsible for what happened the other night, and is Sunday a chance to kind of, I don't know, pay that 77-year-old guy back a little bit by getting the win?
Well, we're all wanting that, and obviously a game against Rangers is always a game that every Celtic supporter around the world will want to see their team win. So there's no greater game to come back to after that, to then go and play. And domestically, we've made a good start. It's a shame the 2-0 draws has sort of putting a real dampener on it. But we go into this game and we want to continue with that good form.
Brendan, you said when you came back that it was your kind of mission to make Celtic competitive in Europe again. You obviously proved that Celtic can compete at the Champions League level last season by going toe-to-toe with Bayern Munich, by reaching the knockout stages for the first time in about 12 years. Does it almost feel as if it's one step forward, two steps back?
Well, like I say, I think I said it last year, I wanted to try and make this club sustainable at the level. I see a club like Club Brugge, it's 7 out of 8 times qualifying, and their cycle continues. The operations continues. They lose players, bring players in, replace. So we have to get to that level because clearly we're not at that level, and we have to be honest with that. So no, listen, the frustration always comes because you want the very best for your club and for your team, and we had an opportunity. It hasn't happened, so we don't give up on it. We go again, and we look to be the best that we can be this year and see if we can give some great moments to our supporters and everyone involved with the club in a Europa League run, whilst fighting domestically.
In a kind of strange sort of way, does Europa League almost open an opportunity for Celtic to go even deeper in Europe? Obviously you're coming up against kind of similar level opposition with the same type of resources as Celtic. Does it all give yourself an opportunity to take Celtic even further in Europe?
Well, there is that possibility. I think that it's sometimes hard to shift that mindset onto, because we know where we wanted to be. We know where we were last year in the Champions League, and we wanted to try and better that. But like I say, we're not there. So you went to Europe. Everyone remembers 2003 and the run that came from not being in the Champions League that season, and then it became one of the great historical runs and seasons in our history. So yeah, it gives us the opportunity to create great memories here, and like I say, let's see what we can do in the competition, and some fantastic games, I have to say.
What are you expecting from Rangers on Sunday? Been a tough start for Russell Martin at Ibrox.
Yeah, I think Russell knows the landscape. He's played at Rangers before, and he's come in, and it's always a challenge. You come in as a young manager, you go into a big club. He's had good success at MK Dons when he was there, at Swansea, and I still follow Swansea, so I know he's done a really good job there. Southampton went and got them promoted, and obviously the Premier League is a big challenge for any club. And then you come to Rangers, which is a big club. You're trying to impose your style, your way of working, whilst trying to change your culture. So it always takes a wee bit of time, So yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll do really well. And but in the meantime, you always have to get through the sticky bits of your season, and sometimes those can be at the beginning, and you hopefully over time can make it better. But what I expect always a tough game when you play against Rangers.
Is he somebody you've crossed paths with a lot down south at all in the past, Brendan?
Not a lot. I come across Russell a few times. Let his team let Swansea use the Leicester training ground when they were playing a game, but I haven't come across him too much. I obviously spoke about with him when Matt O'Reilly as well, because he'd obviously worked with Matt. So, but yeah, I don't know him that well, but I know he's a good guy and a good football fella. So, yeah, these are challenges that come across you. You move into like I say, a big club, and you got to embrace it, and I'm sure he is.
I think it's only 1 win in 5 against Rangers last season. How do you go about recapturing that dominance that you've enjoyed in that fixture previously?
Play well. It's a start. I think you think of performance. We've won most of our games against Rangers because we've played well, focused on performance, not getting too caught up in the whole hype of it all, playing without fear, and playing the level of football that's expected here at Celtic. When we've done that, in the majority of my time here, we've played well and won the games. The games last year, the games we lost, we didn't deserve to win. We were beat well there at Ibrox. We lost a home game that we shouldn't have lost, and then obviously some other draws and a chance to win that game, and then the cup final we win in penalties. So yeah, it's not rocket science. Play well, play with confidence, compete, fight, run, show your quality, and you'll always have a chance to win the games.
You obviously won the league comfortably last season despite the losses at Ibrox and Parkhead. How much did you analyse those matches, what you didn't do right, what you need to address specifically, areas of your performance that you weren't happy with?
Yeah, well, you always analyse and you always observe the games and see where you can be better. But each time you're playing against different managers, different coaches with different styles. So you always have to take that into consideration. I think the game that we lost at Parkhead, we weren't very good in the first half. Give away 2 poor goals, dominated the second half, and then lost to a mistake later on in the game. So we shouldn't have lost that game. But yeah, listen, you always analyse, but then you look to learn from it and then bring it into your next game. So I'm looking forward to seeing us and the response from our midweek in this game. And like I said, domestically we've we've started well in terms of performance and result, and I always feel, and especially with adding to the squad, that we'll get better. So that starts on Sunday.
Just with players coming in, Brendan, you've been linked with Dolberg, the Danish striker. Can you say anything on that at the moment?
Nothing as of yet. There's obviously numbers of players that we're looking at that we need to bring in, especially on the front line. So, but I think we'll be busy, pretty active over the coming days.
If Adam were to leave, Brendan, would you be looking for two strikers to come in?
Ideally, yeah.
Any further injuries, Brendan, to the squad?
No, we Tony Ralston didn't train today, but should be okay tomorrow. We'll see that. And then the guys that have been out, Austin is still out, and Ali Johnson. But other than that, should be pretty much the same squad.